Hi, hello, good morning. Welcome to my sunroom. My name is Barb. Today is, let me just check my book because I forgot already, the 18th of May. It is a Monday, and I am welcoming you here to my Flosstube number 17. Do you believe that? I can't believe that. I remember for well over 2 years that I had talked about starting a floss tube. Talk to myself, of course, because you know how that goes. So, and then it took me all that time to get up the courage to do it. And now I can't believe I've gone this far. I've accumulated a couple new subscribers, and I'm so happy for that. I welcome you all. If you're not a subscriber, and if somebody has sent you here, they said, hey, go check out Barb, see what she has to say. I'm glad you're here. I would love it if you would subscribe, hit the like button. Please leave me a message. You can also email me. I will have my business email address below. You're more than welcome to email me. I do have a follower that we do chit chat back and forth, and we are planning to meet up. She is local to me, and so it's nice. I'm very happy to build my community here in my little section of Western New York. I do live just outside of Buffalo. I'm in a little town called West Seneca. It's not, tiny, but we are considered a town. And literally one street over is South Buffalo. So that's how close I live to Buffalo. I am also about an hour and 15 minutes from Hobby House Needleworks up in the Rochester area. My last floss tube, I did talk to you about the retreat that I went to, the Plum Street and Heartstrings Samplery Retreat. And I also met a new floss tuber. Her name is Vicki, and she actually works at Hobby House. And she does have 2 videos out. I started watching her first one last night, and it's a long one. It's over 2 hours, but she goes through all of her whips. And I know that today, if not today, then tomorrow night when I have stitchy time, I will sit and watch the rest. But I'm going to put her information below. She has some stitches that, she talks about something that she started years and years ago and how she's adding little motifs to it, which is such a great idea. I don't know why I haven't thought of something like that. But go on over and take a peek. Tell her I sent you. When I chatted with her at Hobby House at the retreat, I had said something about seeing the floss tubers that were there. Brenda and Laura were there, Sweetwater Stitcher, and I had said something about that, and I said, well, I'm sure nobody recognizes me from my floss tube, but I was wrong. And she says, oh, I have a floss tube as well. So we exchanged information, and I don't know what I did with her little piece of paper. I bet you it's probably folded up in the fabrics that I bought at Hobby House. But I was watching Sew Me Sarah last night. Sarah is wonderful. You have to go and check her out. She is from the UK. She is also the one that is hosting the Sew Along, Stitch Along in the Across the Pond group on Facebook. It's a la-di-da pattern. Unfortunately, when I started it, it's probably the last time I stitched it. I don't have it here in front of me. But if you go and look for Sew Me Sarah and follow her, she's lovely. I could listen to her just and stitch, okay? So anyway, I was listening to Sew Me Sarah last night, and she had mentioned Vicki, and I went, oh my gosh, that's the one that I have been looking for. So to come back to my circle here, I will put Vicki's floss tube information below. I'm also going to add Sew Me Sarah, tag her in it as well, because like I said, she's a very lovely lady, and you really should be watching what she is stitching. She just had 10 finishes. 10. Good for you, girl. Okay, so I've been having a problem lately. I've been looking at my videos, and they're long. Now, personally, I don't mind, I'm just setting my coffee here. I don't mind watching a video that's over an hour long. If I know that I have that much time to sit and stitch, I'm gonna, pop on one of those videos and enjoy it. Helen D usually has about a 30-minute video. I enjoy watching Helen D, but I look at mine and I've been combining my Flosstube, my cross stitch, my quilting. So what I actually did was I filmed just a quilting video, because when I started my YouTube channel, it was going to be basically for quilting. So that's why it is under She Sews and Quilts, because that is my quilting business name. So I thought, well, I'm going to start separating my my projects. I'm going to do just a Flosstube video, call it Flosstube. And then I'm going to do a quilting video and call it QuiltTube. And then this way, for those individuals that just want to watch cross stitching, they've got that. And if you want to just hang out and watch quilting, that's there too. So I'm trying to shorten the time of my videos because they are long and I do ramble. So like I said, I sat down and I filmed a quilt video and I didn't like it. I ended up hitting the pause button, or I thought I hit the pause button, I hit the stop button. So I refilmed. I did the same thing. And I said, you know what? This was not the day. I did it a week ago. I thought, this is not the day to start this. So what I'm going to be doing moving forward is, I think my phone is tilting. There we go. I will have a Flosstube video just for cross stitch. And then I'm going to have a quilting video just talking about quilting. And I'm really sad because what I showed in my quilting video was a special order of memory bears and a memory quilt that I made. And I'm not confident with editing. I haven't even looked into that for me to even take the pictures and insert them. So that's just not something I even want to delve into right now. So with that being said, I'm only going to talk about my cross stitching today. And hopefully this will be a little bit of a shorter video. So I've only honestly stitched on 2 things because I've had a lot of client orders, memory bears, quilts, things like that, that I've had to catch up on, because when I went through my cancer journey, we'll just call it a journey, I got very backed up on my orders, and my clients were very, very understanding and said, you know what, just take your time. What I thought was going to be a quick turnaround for me to get my things done, I am telling you, physically I felt okay, right? You know, the scars healed and things like that. But I was tired. Like, I got one thing done in a day, and I just, so the physical exhaustion that way, the mental, the emotional exhaustion was overwhelming. What I can say, probably since just after Easter-ish, I have felt like I felt before cancer, that I'm able to focus on more than one task at a time, that I'm able to get things done, and not just quilting and sewing and cross stitching, but housework and gardening and grocery shopping and babysitting and all those other things. But, and I hate to say this because I don't want to bring on any bad karma here, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, waiting for that other shoe to drop. And I've got to get that out of my brain, because that is not something that I want. Okay. So to be honest, as I said, I have not cross stitched very much, because I'm really trying to catch up on my client orders. But that is going to be for my quilting video. So let me show you what I have been stitching. Now, I am participating in the Homespun Needlework group Summer Swap. spring summer swap. I'm not sure which one it is. So I'm excited to do that. I've done a couple of swaps before, one particular cross stitch swap, and then I've also done doll quilt swaps, or a quilting swap, small things. So it's just, I enjoy it so much because I value other people's time and the work that they do. Now, everybody has a different skill level. Okay, I'm a bridal seamstress. I can put together a wedding dress. Okay, I'm not a painter. I'm not a pottery maker. But when somebody makes me something, no matter their skill level, I truly appreciate it. I truly, truly appreciate it. So anything that comes to me like that, I don't care people's skill level, and I would never judge somebody on that, as I wouldn't want to be judged. So with that being said, I took a pattern, and I knew I was going to do this. I just don't want to show the actual pattern because, of course, it's in a book. So I was excited when I went to my hobby house retreat back in April, because I knew I was going to be picking up my Happiness is Homemade cookbook. And I knew that there were going to be patterns in here. So I chose a pattern, a spring type pattern. Actually, I chose one and then completely changed my mind because I saw something else. So this particular one is a house, has a flag, has an urn of flowers sitting on top of the house. It has some little flowers coming off, a couple of trees, some, to me, they look like quilt blocks, but I know they're not. Little decorations up around the top. It's very cute. It's very cute, but it's very fiddly. Okay. So this particular one is by Cherry Guidry from Cherry Blossoms. And it's a really cute little design. But I'm overzealous in my work, because I knew that I was going to be making it, and I knew I had some time. I thought, oh, I'm just going to do it on Aida because I want to get it done quickly. Not that Aida is a quick stitch, but, it's a little bit quicker for me to stitch on Aida. And we have a timeline. It needs to be mailed out by this Friday. Okay. So what I did is I went through my Aida, and I found this really pretty light blue Aida, and I thought, oh, that's cute. And you know what? This particular design called for Weeks Dye Works. And of course, I only had one of the, let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 colors it requires. Now, mind you, it's a small little piece. It finishes, it's 62 by 65 stitch count. So it calls for 11 colors. So there's a lot of fiddling going on, right? So, excuse me, because I dropped the fabric. So I found this really pretty light blue Aida, and I pulled colors, some DMC. No, I didn't pull DMC. I pulled some Classic Colorworks, and what else do I have here? I do have some Weeks Dye Works. So I pulled colors that I thought would look very nice together out of my stash, right? So then I had another idea. I'm like, oh, well, instead of just using the Aida and the very pretty light blue that you have, let's coffee dye it. So I did. I baked it too. I put it in the oven to give it that. I said, okay, no, I don't like that. I don't know why I did that. Lesson learned, right? Anyway. So then I went digging for some more, and I found a natural piece of Aida. So this is what she's looking like. Now she is cute. I really do like the blue that I chose for the top there. To me, it's just really kind of springy. So she's going together nicely. All I have to do is finish the house. All I have to do is fill in the house. So it's been fiddly, as I said, because there are 11 colors here. And, you know, some of them are just one stitch here, one stitch there, like the centers for the flowers. Here, I'll show it again. I wanted to pull it up a little bit, making sure that it doesn't fall off my board. So she is kind of cute. And I do have an idea as to how I'm going to finish it. I will put it on a flat board, and then I don't really want to say what the finish is. But you know what I'm going to do when it's done? I will take pictures and post it on my Instagram. I'm actually going to put my Instagram below. I know I've done it before, but I'll do it again. So, of course, this has to be mailed out Friday. And I've been working on this. I literally started this when I came back from Hobby House because I had the cookbook. And I pulled my linens. I got home on a Sunday. I pulled out my fabrics on Monday. I pulled my threads, everything else. And then I decided that I was going to coffee dye that fabric. So this is actually stitched on a 14 count natural Aida that I had in my stash. And again, I am using Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works, just, you know, changing the colors a bit, trying to keep them somewhat similar, you know, like the house of the roof and the pot and that. I'm still not 100 on the green that I chose for the trees, but that's what I had. And again, thinking of this now, it does show a little variation in the leaves of the flowers and stuff like that. So could I have gone with DMC? I could have and made it a little bit different. But to me, these are springy colors. So I will, when I'm done, take a picture of my finish and post it on my Instagram. Because it has to be mailed out on Friday. And I was just going to just put it in a little frame, but I have something else in mind. My Ort ball is filling up. Of course, because I had to unpick, because counting is hard. So, you know, we look at these, or at least I do. I look at these small pieces and I say, oh, they're going to go quickly. Not when there's a lot of threads in there and there's a lot of fussy stitching. But I'm happy with it. I think it's going to turn out really cute. And then I also have some other gifts that are going to go in the box as well to my my swap partner. So I'm excited for that. Now the other stitch that I've been working on, I've shown this before. It is my Temperature Quaker by the Stitchin Mommy. And I did purchase this pattern off of Etsy. And yes, I do have my notes on there. And I'm still really enjoying this pattern. It is turning out nice. I use a calendar, and I don't stitch on this every day. I might stitch on this maybe once every week or week and a half-ish. So actually the last time I stitched was May 8th. So I got a little bit of catching up to do. But what I do is I go on to a website for West Seneca, and they have the high temperatures, and that is what I'm doing. I am stitching the high temperature. I'm not stitching the average. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. You can stitch the average temperature for the day. I'm stitching the high. So I just use the calendar. I mark down the temperature for the day. I do, you know, mark the high and the low only because it's there. But I have my color chart that I was using from the other Quaker, the other temperature, it wasn't a Quaker, the other temperature Galaxy that I was stitching that I gave up on a few years ago. And I turned that, if you go back and check my other videos, I turned it into actually a project bag. So this is my color range. I have my temperatures broken down by 2 to 3 degrees. Some have 3, some might have 4. Nope, it looks like it's 2 and 3 degrees. So I do have a wide range of colors. And I am using DMC for this. And I do really enjoy it. As I mentioned before with the other temperature galaxy I was doing, when I was looking at the piece, I was thinking, where am I going to put that? Where can I display that? Because it really, you know, looking around my home, I have all kinds of quilts and my colors are more earth tones. It just wasn't going to fit. So I wanted to use something that I know that I'm going to display, even if I put it, you know, going upstairs to my bedrooms. But this is where I am so far. And what I'm enjoying is to see the variation of the colors. Now today, we had some beautiful weather last week. It was in the 70s. I took my featherweight outside. I was actually sewing outside. It was just lovely to do. Today it's 59 degrees inside my house. Hence the reason I'm wearing a sweatshirt, because I refuse to turn the heat on in mid-May. That's not going to happen. The dogs are wearing a fur coat. They'll be fine. When my husband comes home, I tell him, put on a blanket. So I'm not turning the heat on. As a matter of fact, I have a few windows open yet. It'll be fine. So looking at the variation of the temperatures and seeing the different colors, it starts in the upper corner here with January. So it's January, February, March. April starts the next row, and then I'm mid-May. So just to see the colors changing, it's nice. Now I am stitching this on Aida, and this looks like an 18 count Aida. I am using 2 threads. Normally on something like this, I would use 1. Am I using 2? Now I'm questioning myself. No, I am questioning myself. But I'm pretty sure I'm using 2 threads because it is really standing out a little bit on here. So, again, as I said, it's turning out lovely. I am loving how the colors are changing. And I'm excited to see what it's going to look like with those 70-degree days that we had, and then dropping down to 59. It's Buffalo. That's our weather. That's what happens here. And that's okay. People joke that we can have 4 seasons in one day. And you know what? There have been times where it's been so cold that it'll snow through the night. And then as it warms up, it turns into like a rainy mist. And then the sun might come out. Right? It's just, it is what it is. It's an interesting area in which to live. Okay, so those are the only 2 stitching projects that I have been working on. Excuse me for a second here. But that's okay. As I said, I'm working to get my client orders done, and everybody has been so patient. It's important. Coffee break. Excuse me. Chet said he's sorry. My neighbors are actually moving, and I'm so sad to see them go. 2 houses down. So the moving vans are there today. They're lovely people, but they have an opportunity to move to an area, and my neighbor has the opportunity to babysit her grandson. And you know what? Right? That's another reason why my stitching is a little bit less, because my son and daughter-in-law asked if I could take on an extra day babysitting. So now I am babysitting grandchildren 3 days a week. Tuesday all day, Wednesday all day, and then I work Wednesday night at the vet clinic, and then Friday all day. So things have been working out well. I'm never going to turn down the opportunity to babysit my grandchildren. The ones that I am babysitting right now are 3, 3, and 5. 2 of my son's kids. And the opportunity and the time that I get to spend with my grandchildren means more to me than anything. Well, other than, being with my own kids. But my grandchildren are the extension of my children. And it helps me relive when my kids were little. So I've taken on a Friday now. So when I babysit Sam on Friday, it's our shopping day. She says, we go Hobby Lobby? Sure. I'll drive us to Hobby Lobby. Not a problem. And then, we'll stop for lunch. I'll pick her up some lunch and bring her. And then we come back to my house on Fridays. And then I will, do some cleaning, or we'll do yard work, or we'll go for a walk or whatever while she stays and plays. I've got a corner full of toys over here in the sunroom to help keep the grandchildren occupied. And of course, she loves the dogs. I usually have Pip home here. Chet is usually at doggy daycare. But Pip is 10 years old and he's very gentle with the kids. Chet, on the other hand, is only 2. And actually yesterday he earned his first Canine Good Citizen title. So he is, I just sent off his paperwork so they can add CGC to his AKC paperwork. So he is now Wiscoy's Mighty Fortress, AKC, CGC. It just basically means that I have a little bit better control of him in public. Right? So I've been taking him to like Home Depot and walking around and letting people approach him and stuff like that. So he's very excitable. So sometimes when the grandkids are over, I either have them in their own den. They have their own room. So the dogs will stay in there. But when Sammy comes over on Friday, usually Pip is here and she's all over Pip. Or she's playing with the toys or whatever. So again, let me circle back. That is another one of the reasons why my stitching is moving down the list, because I am not only babysitting an extra day, I am really working hard to catch up on client orders. So, that me time, which I value and I will not give up, is pushed. It's not every day anymore. I cannot stitch every day. I can tell you, though, that when I get done, I have to finish that house. I have to finish stitching that house because I got to finish that, get everything together. Because Friday, when I go pick up Sammy for our Grandma and Sammy Day, I have to go to the post office. So let me tell you some of the things that I've acquired. My personal presents. Now, the first thing, I can't remember if I showed this in the last video, but I am in the Homespun Needlework group on Facebook that is run by Julie Kersavi. And every so often, she will have a giveaway. I think it's almost like once a week. She will have a pattern or whatever that you can comment on the post, and then she picks a winner. So I actually won this. And it is Stacy Nash, an animal cracker. And it is Dr. Raven. So I got this pattern. This will be perfect to stitch for the Halloween stitch, because he is dark. He's kind of so I was really excited because I've never really won anything like that in a giveaway on any site. So I was excited to get that. So that came in the mail. Well, there was a little bit of an issue. I don't know if it was the address or whatever, or she said that she hadn't gotten my response with my address. But it's neither here nor there. Once we got all of that figured out, she mailed it off to me. So I was excited for that. Now, what else have I purchased for myself? Let's see. I hopped on immediately the day that this went on, and I might have shown this already or mentioned it, This is from Primrose, and I did get the whole shebang for this. Well, aside from the finishing piece, because I don't need the finishing piece. This was her new chart, Stitching Rules, and I just loved it. I also like the fact that it can be broken down into smaller pieces, because the way she did design it, if you look at it, they can be broken into blocks, okay? You can pull out and stitch what it is that you like. So this is a Primrose Cottage, Lindsay Waite. And then with that, I also purchased the Stitchin Quaker. And I also purchased the Stitchin Quilt. I didn't purchase the finishing kit because, again, I have plenty of fabric. And more than likely, I will find some Lori Holt fabrics to use for those small little pillows. But I did purchase the color and cotton because I don't have the availability other than heading to Hobby House, which of course I can do. But I did purchase the color and cottons, the floss pack for it. And there is one DMC in here. So the colors are very bright. I don't have very many color and cotton floss. I did purchase a while back, a few years ago now, some of their, you know, like little sample pieces. So that was kind of fun. So I do have that. And then I got a half of a yard of the light ash gray Zweigart. 28 count did I get? I got 28 count, yep. So I will probably stitch 1/2. Now, if I remember correctly, when Lindsay was talking about this piece, the stitching rule, it said that you needed a full fat quarter, I believe, to do the piece as stitched. So that's why I got a half yard, because, you know, I'm going to do the Stitchin Quaker and the Stitchin Quilt on the same fabrics. So there's that. There's that. Excuse me. He really does have a deep bark, doesn't he? He is 95 pounds, English lab. So if I see him running off, then I'm going to pause the video just because it can be annoying. It also gave me time to go get another cup of coffee. Anyway, so what else did I pleasantly purchase for myself? So yesterday, after our CGC certification, I was really excited. I have been working since I got him. Now he's 2 years old, and I've always said I want to train him as a therapy dog. I want to get him to the point that he can be a therapy dog, that I can take him into nursing homes, hospitals, the airport. Okay, our local SPCA has a program that these dogs can go into places like the airport for flyers that are a little bit having anxiety. So this is what I have been saying that I have been wanting to do with him. And he's a very rambunctious 2-year-old English lab who is just so excitable. And he's not bad. He's not a bad dog. He's just very excited, and he doesn't know how to control that excitement. So we're working on that. So yesterday I was on a high all day long that we did this first leg of this, and he passed, and so I needed to treat myself. I said, treat yourself, girl. So it was a very yucky day yesterday. My husband and I had spent all day Saturday out in the yard. He was doing some grass stuff. I was digging up in the flower gardens and that. So we really worked hard all day Saturday. And we had planned on doing the same yesterday. And then the weather was not cooperating. And I said, I'm not going to work outside in 50 some degree weather. And it was misting and stuff like that. So we came in and sat down, and I said, okay, I'm only going to sit for 15 minutes. An hour later, I said to him, oh my God, Rick, I got to do something. I said, let's go to the flea market in East Aurora. Now it's later in the afternoon. You know, usually flea markets are very busy in the morning. People come and they see what they can find. So I knew that going later in the day, there wasn't going to be much there. And, you know, but at least it was getting us out of the house and this and that. So we went. And it's in East Aurora, and it's called Flea Market, something or other. If I will put the name down below, and then, you know, if you're in the area and that's someplace you want to go, it's not too far. It's if you take the 400, get off at 20A, go to the left, it's right out there. Anyway, so I went to this one stand that I've been to before, and she has a lot of linens and things like that. And from what I understand, they have a shop, or she has this area set up there, and it's donations from her local church, you know, that the money that they make goes back to, I think this is what I was told. I'm not 100 on it. So it goes back to the church. So I scooted myself down to her stand, and I found a few things. I found a lot of things, but I put some back because, to be honest, some of the prices were just, I know it's going back to the church, but I have a limit, okay? So this piece, I didn't have a limit. I knew it was going to be pricey because of the size. Now it's a tablecloth. Now my dining room table, when it opens, seats 12. When it's closed, it seats 6. So I have 4 leaves. I had the table and chairs made by an Amish group, and I absolutely love it. Love it. Okay. So when I found this tablecloth, she's like, oh, you know, it's really big and everything. I said, I'm not concerned about the size. I don't care if it's big or small or medium. To me, I am rescuing this piece because this tablecloth took somebody a long time to make. And she says, well, you know, I said, look, at my table, when it's fully open, seats 12. This isn't going to fit it. It'll fit it now, seating 6, but I don't care. My thought process was that I saw this tablecloth and I fell in love with it. It is not something that I would make. And I know, and I'm positive I still have kits that my mother had for tablecloths, for embroidery. And every time I look at them, I'm like, I can't even get into something like that, right? So this is just a section of it. Now, mind you, this will fit a table closed that seats 6. So this is huge. So this is the design all the way around. And then there is cross stitch on the edges. I did not measure this, but I'm telling you, it's very, very large. Okay. It's all cross stitch. And it's all in these 2 shades of green. And it is done so nicely. I mean, even looking at the back. Yes, of course, there are knots because in a tablecloth, you can't just bury your threads. You're basically knotting it. There's no staining on it at all. And I'm guessing it was one of those, maybe a dimensions kit or something. So this is, I can't even hold it up and give you a fair idea of it. But it is leaves and vines. So I paid $25 for this tablecloth. And as we were walking out, I said to my husband, I know there's going to come a day where my things are going to be in the AmVets or Goodwill or in a flea market or something like that, because my children are not going to keep everything that I made. They're just not. And I said, to know that somebody spent hours and hours stitching on this tablecloth. Hours. $25 is nothing. So I don't know if he understands the thought process behind rescuing another stitcher's work. But he did say to me, he's like, well, you're right. He said, that's not what our kids want. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I was happy to take this tablecloth, and it's heavy, right? It is a heavier linen. There's no staining on it or anything. And I'm just so pleased that I was able to find this and bring this home. Now, I will give her a bath. She's not even that dirty. I will give her a bath in the quilting soaps that I use. But I'm not going to do it until we have a nice sunny day where she can hang out on the line. And then, yes, I will put her on my table. I've also thought about taking her and quilting her. I've done that for people too, where they've put together cross-stitched pieces. I had a client, she got some cross-stitched pieces from somebody. She made them into a quilt, and then I quilted it. And I've thought about doing something like that as well. But my first step is to give her a bath. Now, something else that I purchased, and I'm going to preface this by saying I belong to quite a few cross-stitch groups on Facebook and sewing groups and things like that. And there was outrage in a particular group with regards to some, and I'm going to call this old-time stitching. Things that we might have seen in the 40s and 50s, maybe even the 60s. And the younger generation, boy, do I sound old, was up in arms that patterns like this would still be available and that people would actually stitch things like this. Now, let me preface this by saying, everybody has a right to their opinion, as do I. I looked at this piece like, you know what? I'm rescuing somebody's stitching. I think it's cute. I would not say that this would be offensive. I would not purchase it to rub somebody's nose in it, to be nasty about it. I'm looking at this as a quilter and a cross-stitcher and somebody that appreciates linens and fabrics and things like that. So if you find this offensive, I'm sorry for you. And I don't mean that to be nasty, please. I purchased this piece because it is somebody's handiwork. And I respect that, and I'm enjoying this piece, okay? So it is a hand towel. Let me grab where's my board? Excuse me. Dropped it on the floor. So I want to put it on here so you can see it. So this is embroidered, and it has some applique quilting on it. Now look at this. Look at that little towel. Isn't that sweet? Look at the colors. Now the hat and the flowers and the pants and the shoes are fabric. And then the rest is embroidered, if you can see on there. I think it's sweet. So I've been on the kick of making those little towels that hang from, the stove and stuff like that, the crocheted top towels. I'm probably going to turn this into that and just have it for decoration. Now it does have some staining, And I can see that very well, like throughout here. You can see the yellowing a little bit. Right in through here, right where the fold line is. So I will wash this along with this and use it. It's a nice thick toweling fabric. So, but yes, I think it's adorable. I looked at this piece like this is somebody's handwork. And I know for a fact that if I were to post it in a particular cross stitch group, there would be outrage. And I'm not talking like the group run by Julie Kursavi. I'm talking about another group where people post different things that are that can be offensive. People stitching female anatomy or male anatomy and, you know, saying that they can stitch whatever they want. And yes, they can. You can. But if you're going to stitch things like that and post that for people to praise your stitching, then you shouldn't be offended when somebody finds something that's older. And I don't know, you know what, I might do a Google search on this image and see when this particular image might have been, or this pattern might have been created. 40s, 50s, 60s, I don't know. But you can't have it both ways. So if you're in a group, whether it's a Facebook group or you're following people on Instagram or you know, you're watching YouTube videos and somebody, and you are willingly participating in that group because you asked to join the group and you are aware that things might be offensive. You can't have it both ways. You can't be posting things that are offensive and then get offended when somebody else posts something. That's my opinion. My opinion also is that this is really cute. And I'm going to use this because I want to honor the individual that made this. The stitching on the back is actually quite tiny. You can see that there. So I will be honoring this stitcher and using, and like I said, probably turning it into, I will crochet a top to it, or I might even make a fabric top. I don't know. We'll see what happens after I wash the piece. Now this is something I have not seen. I know I paid way too much for this. I'm going to read you what this piece of paper that has been pinned on here, and pinned so long the needle is rusty. It says, put your thimble in my pocket, put your needles in my knee, put your thread down my bosom, put me where you please. I loved this. Look at, isn't that the sweetest thing? Now this is a feed sack, and I know that. Okay. It has a little opening at the top here. What this reminds me of, I'm going to put that paper in there. You can see the opening at the top here. Do you know what this reminds me of? Back in the day, I used to have a clothespin bag, a fabric bag that held my clothespins out on my line. And yes, I still hang my clothes outside. My friend says that me and the Amish are the only people she knows that hangs their clothes outside. So I used to have a clothespin bag, and that's what this reminded me of. But it's like a little stitchy companion. There's some, I want to say probably cotton here, and I would love to open this up to see if it's that old cotton batting. If you remember, gosh, I remember this as a kid. We used to get cotton batting in a box, and it was a rectangular box, and the cotton batting was rolled in blue paper. And that's the kind of cotton batting I remember. And I would love to open this up to see if that's what it is and not just a cotton ball, right? So there's little cotton here in the little feeties. Then there's little pockets right here. That's a pocket, that's a pocket. And then this goes all the way down. I fell in love with this. Again, I know I paid way too much for it. Oh, and it has some kind of plastic at the top here so that it holds it out. So if you've ever seen anything like this, please let me know. Again, I think I'm going to do a Google image on it and see what it comes up as. But I do want to give her a bath, but I don't want to take the paper off. I was thinking about using her, but I think I just might keep her as a decoration. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So that's my personal presents, purchases, things that I got for myself. I have not purchased any patterns other than the primrose, only because of everything that I showed that I got from Hobby House. Now, so Mother's Day was a week ago, and I hope all of you that celebrated or have the opportunity to celebrate, the grandmas, the aunts, the women who are like mothers to others, men who have taken on that role. I hope that you had a wonderful day. Now, it was a quiet day for me. My daughter had texted me. I didn't speak to her. She did call me, and I called her back, and she wasn't able to answer. I did speak to my son down in Florida. He called me, spoke with my granddaughter from Florida. My son, one of my sons that lives in the area, they stopped over with two of my grandchildren, and we were able to spend just a little bit of time. And then my youngest son and his wife and grandchildren were on a drive traveling down to Florida. So it was kind of quiet here. I cooked dinner. My husband asked if I wanted to go out. I said, absolutely not. I made the mistake one time going out to dinner on a Mother's Day, and I said I would never do it again. Ever, ever, ever. What I did want was potato salad. So I made myself potato salad, and we threw some steaks on the grill. And then, we had spent the day working in the yard and stuff because it's cold for so long. April, May, it's cold. And then all of a sudden, Mother Nature flips the switch and it's hot. And then the yard work isn't done. The tables and chairs aren't out. We want to paint the deck this year. There's just always 101 things to do. And you have about 10 minutes to get it done. Because then all of a sudden it's gorgeous. It's Memorial Day. You want to have all of your stuff done outside. And next weekend being Memorial Day, I'm like, this is not going to get done. So we did some yard work and stuff like that. And during the week, trying to get things done is just not attainable with everything else. But what I did get is gifts from my youngest son and daughter-in-law. What she did was, and I love things like this. Love them. She took the kids' handprints. She got a clay pot. She painted it. And then she did the kids' handprints around the outside. Cole and Brielle. And then the little ladybugs are their thumbprints. Well, actually Cole's thumbprints, because Brielle didn't want to have anything to do with it after that because her hands got dirty. She's a girly girl, man. So I love this. Absolutely love this. And they gave it to me before they left for Florida. So I brought it in the house, and I had a vase of lilacs that I put in there, and I'm still finding little bits of lilacs. So things like that I adore. And then my son that stopped over gave me a gift card to Chick-fil-A because I'm all about Chick-fil-A. So those are the gifts that I got from my kids. And then my husband gave me gift cards to a local garden center because my goal is to have as many rose bushes as I am old. Well, counting my rose bushes lately, and I've had some die, because they're older and they've did not weather the winters. So I only have 48 rose bushes. I need 17 more because, yes, I am 65. Okay, so he gave me some gift cards. He says, do you think this will cover it? I said, no. But that's okay. It's a good start. Thank you very much. What he also did, which shocked the bejesus out of me, he contacted Kathy at Hobby House and said, are there any retreats coming up? And she said, well, yeah. So he registered me. Still, I'm just for the My Life as a Sampler retreat, September 5th through the 7th at Hobby House. Well, it's going to be at the Woodcliff. I am shocked. So if you are going to the My Life as a Sampler 3 retreat, September 5th through the 7th this year, please let me know, because now I'll be going too. I'm so excited. It's Needlework Press, and oh my gosh, all of a sudden I've drawn a blank. Needlework Press, and I know that for a fact because I'm working on a needlework press. And then oh my gosh, I can see the pattern in my brain because I have the pattern, and it's a dog's quotes. So I'll look up the information. I'll put it below, but it is in September, and these are two designers that I have not had the pleasure of attending a retreat with yet. So I'm looking forward to that. I do have to get my room at the Woodcliff. I don't think that we can book it yet, but he said that he will take care of that for me as well. So that was a big surprise for me. And it's funny because we had been talking about retreats and just how much I needed to go to the Plum Street retreat. As I've said before, when I was diagnosed with cancer back in the fall, your mind just goes to the worst case scenario. I didn't think I was going to be here at Christmas, right? I didn't think I was going to be able to attend the retreat. And again, you just automatically start thinking the worst. So when I talked to him about going to the retreat and how lovely it was and just sitting there and stitching and being with like-minded ladies and gentlemen, it was a much needed, gosh, I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for. I needed it for my soul. I just needed it for my soul. So to be able to go again in September, my brain was already shut off for retreats until next June when I go see Brenda Gervais. So to have this, I was like, oh, right, put the brakes on, and I'm thinking, okay, what else do I need to do? What am I working on for these particular designers? I got to take those with me to retreat. So now I'm in a planning mode again. I can say that I probably won't be making as many purchases because I knew that I wanted to get all of my stuff purchased until I go back next June. It's not to say I won't have little minor purchases, but I've already said to myself, look, start pulling out some of the patterns, making the orders for Hobby House, because you'll be able to pick it up in September again. So anyway, that was my Mother's Day, and it was lovely. And I'm so very grateful, very, very grateful that I have 4 healthy, productive adult children and 6 beautiful, healthy grandchildren. I'm very, very fortunate. I recognize that. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't thank the Lord above that I've been given this gift. So with that being said, that's all I have for today. I know I said I was going to try to keep it short, but it's been a few weeks since I've actually had the opportunity to sit and chat with you. So moving forward, as I said, I'm going to keep my cross stitching and my quilting separate. I'm really trying to plan on every week doing a short video. So today, this is Monday. This is obviously my floss tube. I'm going to add all of those things in that I've mentioned, the people that I've watched, the information with regards to the retreat, stuff like that. And then next week, Monday is a holiday. It is Memorial Day for us. Technically, it's not Memorial Day, but you know, now that everything is a 3-day weekend, I'm not sure that I will be filming because I know the hubs will be home. And I know that I'm, he's going to be painting the deck and I'm going to be gardening and stuff like that. We are not doing any picnics. I found here that it's just the weather is just never reliable. So what I can say is I am working today at the clinic and Wednesday at the clinic, and then I'm off because for Memorial Day at the clinic, I don't have to go in at night because we're closing early. So I will basically have like a week off, which it dawned on me last night. I said to my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, So anyway, moving forward, if you are in our area, in the United States and you celebrate Memorial Day, I hope that you have a safe one. And if you have picnics planned, I hope they are safe for you and that you're able to spend time with your family, your friends, whomever that you celebrate with. It is a day to remember, and keep those individuals close. So with that, I think I'm going to close for the day. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment on my video or email me. I definitely will get back to you. And it may not be, immediate because I don't check my business email every day. I do check it every other day. So I will respond. Please check the notes below for the information with regards to the floss tubers that you might enjoy watching. The the Hobby House retreat coming up in September, the My Life is a Sampler 3 retreat. If there's anything that I've mentioned that, you would like some information on, let me know. I'll do the best that I can to get that to you. My neighbor's dog is barking. That's my sign to say, you know what? I hope you enjoy your day. Grab your beverage of choice, sit down and stitch, and be thankful and grateful for everything that you have. Bye, friends. See you in a couple weeks.